Jane Walden and Sarah Bush are accused, along with Wilfred Bell, deceased, of conspiring to cause an explosion. The charge has been brought as a result of information laid by a local headmaster who was convinced that his school was intended as the target of the alleged bombers.
Miss Bush, are you feeling unwell?
I'm quite well, thank you, my lord.
Well, Mr. Maitland-Wilson.
Your full name is Peter Williamson McCaig.
Yes?
Would you state your age and profession, Mr. McCaig?
I'm 57 years of age and headmaster of Rushmore Comprehensive School.
Were you acquainted with the accused, Miss Jane Walden?
In my professional capacity only.
Quite. Would you tell the court how that acquaintanceship came about?
Yes. Her son Timothy was a pupil at my school.
Was, Mr. McCaig?
Was. His mother saw fit to take him away.
Mr. McCaig, I sense a disapproval in that remark that is not at all justified by anything we have heard so far.
I was trying to be brief, my lord.
Yes, elsewhere, Mr. McCaig, brevity may be the soul of wit, but I can assure you that it has no such quasi-religious status in law.
Thank you, my lord. Am I right in assuming, Mr. McCaig, that Miss Walden's son, Timothy, suddenly stopped attending school?
Yes, towards the end of January this year.
What was your reaction to the boy's truancy?
Well, my first reaction was that it was nothing more than that, plain and simple truancy.
And at what point did it strike you as being neither plain nor simple?
When I sent for the boys' class records and reports.
And what did they indicate to you?
Well, the last thing they indicated to me were what I have come depressingly to recognize as the truancy syndrome. Poor scholastic achievement, unruly classroom behaviour, that sort of thing.
Could you perhaps put that in a slightly more positive fashion, Mr. McCaig?
Timothy was a model pupil, very bright, adjusted, well-behaved.
And yet, at that time, as far as you knew, a truant.
Yes.
What was your reaction? What action did you take?
Well, of course, I could have just gone by the book and let the sanctions against truancy take their course. But in practice, headmasters are allowed to, indeed, almost supposed to, exercise their own discretion.
And did you?
Yes, I did.
In what way?
I telephoned Miss Walden. I identified myself, and then I said, "Are you aware, Miss Walden, that your son Timothy has not been attending school?" She said, "Yes," and hung up.
Nasty, brutish, and short.
Yes, that was my feeling at the time. But then my personal feelings were not at issue.
What was at issue, Mr. McCaig?
Well, it seemed to me that the paramount consideration was the boy's future. And then tied in with that, of course, was professionally the fact that I was faced with a situation I couldn't just walk away from.
Did you attempt to contact Miss Walden again?
Yes, I telephoned her again.
With what result?
She hung up again.
And what did you do then?
I wrote her a letter, which was completely ignored.
2 abortive telephone calls, 1 unanswered letter. Miss Walden was narrowing down your options, was she not, Mr. McCaig?
Yes.
Did it cross your mind that she might be deliberately provoking a confrontation?
Oh, really, my lord, if my learned friend feels that the prosecution case is so weak that he has to lead the witness...
That will be quite enough. If you have an objection to make, please make it in the proper form. As it is, I will disallow the question.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. McCaig, having had no success via the telephone and Her Majesty's mail, what did you decide to do then?
Well, it struck me that if the mountain would not come to Mahomet, Mahomet would have to go to the mountain.
You decided to go and see Miss Walden.
Yes, I did.
Well, was this not a rather unusual step to take?
Well, yes and no.
Mr. McCaig, I'm afraid it must be yes or no.
Well, in that case, I suppose the answer must be yes, it was unusual.
Right. Mr. McCaig, having taken the decision to visit Miss Walden, when did you put it into practice?
On the 27th of January.
Will you describe what happened on that visit, please?
Well, I decided to visit Miss Walden in the morning.
Did you have any special reason for doing that?
No, not particularly. It was just that the morning was the only free time I had in a rather crowded week.
I see. Please go on.
Well, it was on about 11 o'clock on the 27th that I arrived at 10A St. Peter's Lane.
That was Miss Walden's address?
Yes, it was a rather derelict area. I had some trouble finding the house.
And having found the house, what did you do next?
Well, I rang the doorbell, but not surprisingly, nothing happened.
Not surprisingly? Why not?
Well, there was a record player going full blast inside. The noise was absolutely stupefying.
I see. Please continue.
Well, I rang the doorbell several more times, and there was still no answer, so I tried the door. It was unlocked, so I walked in.
You walked into the living room?
Yes. The noise was even more deafening inside.
And when you walked into the living room, who was there?
A young woman.
Can you recognize that young woman in court today?
Yes.
Is she the accused, Jane Walden?
Yes.
And before you had walked into that living room, you had never met her?
Never.
What was she wearing?
Well, she seemed to be wearing only a dressing gown.
And what was she doing?
She was sitting in a broken old rocking chair, eating an orange.
Mr. McCaig, would you care to describe the living room?
Well, I suppose squalor would be the word that leaps immediately to mind. There was a heap of soiled clothing lying in one corner, 2 unrolled sleeping bags on the floor, dirty cups and saucers strewn about, 3 or 4 wine bottles, empty.
What was Miss Walden's reaction when you walked in?
Oh, she seemed quite unperturbed.
What happened then?
Well, I tried to explain who I was, but with all that din going on, it was quite impossible. So I walked over and turned down the volume.
Did she object to you doing that?
Not at all. She remained cool, I think is the vogue word.
She said nothing at all?
Oh, not about me turning down the record player.
But she did say something.
Oh, yes. Yes, she said something.
I think the court might quite like to hear exactly what she did say, Mr. McCaig.
She said, if you're another sodding social worker, you can piss off.
Hardly the most promising opening conversational gambit, perhaps, was it, Mr. McCaig?
Hardly. I ignored it, of course. I then explained who I was and why I'd come here, and I asked her where the boy was.
And where was he?
She said he was outside getting the stink of school out of his clothes and mind, and that he was not coming back to my school or any other school ever.
How old is the boy, Mr. McCaig?
Not quite 10.
Did you point that out to Miss Walden?
Oh, yes, indeed. I remember saying that 10 years old might be considered mature for a malt whisky, but not necessarily for a small boy. She laughed and said that Mozart was giving concerts in London at the age of 7. She supposed that nowadays his father would have been sent to prison and Mozart would have been taken into care.
Yes. Am I right in assuming that up to that point, however, your discussion with Miss Walden was reasonably cordial?
Oh, yes, indeed. She even offered me an orange.
Did you find yourself, shall we say, predisposed in her favour?
At that point, yes. She seemed a bright, intelligent woman. It was when I introduced a note of cold reality into the proceedings that the atmosphere began to change.
Could you explain to us what you mean by a note of cold reality?
Well, by that I meant raising the problem of the situation we were actually in, the problem of what was to be done practically about Timothy's absence from school. I said to her that if she was having difficulties as a single parent, I would be only too glad to help her sort them out.
How did she receive that suggestion?
She said the fact of her being a single parent was irrelevant, that she preferred being a single parent, indeed had deliberately chosen to be one.
Go on, please.
Well, I suggested to her that it might save her time and mine if she were to state categorically her reasons for keeping Timothy away from school.
Did she do so?
Not immediately, no. She went over to a heap of books lying in a corner and came back with 2 paperbacks. She handed them to me and told me to read them. She said that those 2 books contained all her reasons for keeping Timothy away from school.
Can you recall the titles and the authors of those 2 books, Mr. McCaig?
Yes, one was called School is Dead by an American called Everett Brymer.
And the other one?
The other was called Deschooling Society, and the writer of that book was Ivan Illich. Apparently both books, I understand, are concerned with the destruction of the educational system as we know it.
This Mr. Illich, is he Russian?
He is Austrian, my lord.
Oh, a pity. I thought for a moment we were in the presence of something almost ecumenical. Continue, Mr. Maitland-Wilson.
What did you do with these 2 books, Mr. McCaig?
Well, I tossed them gently back into a corner. I told Miss Walden that I was bored with a certain kind of modern book whose trendiness was only outweighed by its anarchic ignorance and inexperience. I asked her to state her own reasons for doing what she was doing.
Now, did she give any?
No, she did not. She simply referred me back to the books that I'd already rejected. I then told her, quite strongly, that she had no right to sacrifice a child to a utopian ideal, to disable him for life because of some fashionable fantasy. I pointed out the boy's brilliance and maturity, and then she started to shout at me.
My lord, I confess that I'm becoming confused as to the charge against Miss Walden. Is she being accused of conspiracy or some latter-day heresy loosely based on the 1944 Education Act?
My lord, I submit that evidence as to Miss Walden's background and attitudes is highly germane. My learned friend is only too keenly aware that the charge is conspiracy to cause an explosion. He is equally aware that an allegation has been brought that the original target of that explosion was intended to be the school of which the present witness is headmaster.
Yes, I take your point, Mr. Maitland-Wilson, but I'm inclined to agree with Mr. Barnum when he says that area has been quite adequately covered.
Thank you, my lord.
Mr. McKay, does the name Wilfrid Bell mean anything to you?
Oh, yes. He was the young man who blew himself up while transporting a bomb in a stolen car.
And did you ever meet Wilfrid Bell?
Yes, once.
Where did you meet him?
At Miss Walden's house on the day of the interview I've been describing.
Would you please tell the court about that meeting?
Yes, well, as I said, during our discussion, Miss Walden had become rather heated and was shouting at me. A door opened and a man walked in from one of the other rooms. He was about 25 and stark naked.
Please go on, Mr. McKay.
Well, as you can imagine, I was completely taken aback. Miss Walden started to laugh, and then she said, this is a friend of mine, Mr. McKay. His name is Wilfrid Bell.
What's Wilfrid Bell's attitude towards you?
Sullen, suspicious. He looked at me, and then he turned to Miss Walden and said, is he giving you a bad time? She then said that I was trying to force Timothy to go back to school, and he said, I am going to throw his ass downstairs. He then tried to throw me out.
Did he assault you, Mr. McKay?
Well, he tried to. He tried to very hard. In the end, I was forced to put him out of action.
You put him out of action, Mr. McKay?
I was an unarmed combat instructor during the last war, my lord.
How extraordinary. Continue, Mr. Maitland-Wilson.
After you had put Bell out of action, Mr. McKay, what happened then?
Well, a door opened and a young woman walked in.
Can you see that young woman in court today?
Yes, she is the young woman sitting next to Miss Jane Walden, Miss Sarah Bush.
And what happened after Miss Bush came into the room?
Well, Miss Walden was kneeling on the floor, cradling Bell in her arms. Miss Bush looked at me and then turned to Miss Walden and said, what goes on?
And what did Miss Walden reply?
She said, this bloody great muscle queen has done up Wilfrid. And then she added, he's broken my bloody Dory Previn records, too.
Yes, I'm afraid I didn't quite understand that last remark.
Dory Previn, my lord, is a singer. Something of a cult figure to a woman like Miss Walden.
Indeed.
Now, please continue, Mr. McKay.
Oh, then the young women started to laugh.
Started to laugh? Why do they do that, do you think, Mr. McKay?
Well, I imagine they realized the absurdity of the remark in the circumstances, my lord.
Were you laughing, Mr. McKay?
Yes, as a matter of fact, I was.
And did Wilfrid Bell say anything?
Oh, yes, he did. He said, the girls can laugh, Professor, but not you. You will be laughing on the other side of your face when we get through with you.
Did you take that threat seriously?
Not at first, no.
Did something happen to make you change your mind?
Yes, when I read about Bell blowing himself up. You see, the accident happened late at night and not far from my school. Now, this made me begin to wonder.
Did anything else occur which tended to strengthen your suspicion?
Yes, some information I got from my attendance officer, Mrs. Murray.
Ah, well, we shall be hearing from Mrs. Murray in due course. Meanwhile, one last question. What made you decide to go to the authorities?
Because I felt that the matter did not end with Bell's death. I was convinced that the bomb that killed him had been intended for my school. I became equally convinced that Miss Walden and Miss Bush were part and parcel of what he was trying to do.
Mr. McKay, how long have you been headmaster of Rushmore Comprehensive School?
5 years.
Yes, now, would I be right in saying, Mr. McKay, that these 5 years have hardly been the happiest in the school's history?
Well, we've had our ups and downs like any other school.
Yes, well, Rushmore Comprehensive seems to have had more than its fair share. Now, for instance, the turnover at staff at your school is abnormally high, is it not?
Yes.
Yes. Now, isn't that usually regarded, Mr. McKay, as a reflection on the quality, or lack of it, of the headmaster?
Well, it could also be regarded as a reflection on the quality, or lack of it, of the young people who enter the teaching profession nowadays.
Oh. Well, do you have a prejudice, do you, against young people, Mr. McKay?
No, but I imagine all headmasters have moments when they agree with the statement that youth is wasted on the young.
And you have more of these moments than most headmasters?
Well, I shouldn't have thought so, no.
Did you know that you've got a nickname in the staff room, Mr. McKay?
Well, if that's true, I should be the last to hear about it.
Yes, but it is true, is it not?
You must answer the question, Mr. McCaig.
Yes, it's true.
So would you kindly tell the court what that nickname is?
Adolf.
The reference is presumably to Adolf Hitler.
Presumably.
Yes. Now, why should you be compared to Adolf Hitler, Mr. McCaig?
I inherited a very sloppy school 5 years ago. I had to do some pretty drastic weedings out.
Is it
And
not
naturally, there were people
yes.
who didn't like it.
Is it not the case that one of these people that you weeded out wrote a book about Rushmore Comprehensive?
Yes, and a very biased and tendentious book it is, too.
Yes, your predecessor was regarded as something of an exponent of progressive ideas in education, was he not?
Yes.
Yes, whereas you, Mr. McCaig, you're a stickler for rules and regulations, yes?
If the alternative is anarchy, yes, I am.
Yes, now you seem to have a mild obsession with that word, with anarchy. Mr. McCaig, earlier on you mentioned, yes, a certain kind of modern book whose trendiness is only outweighed by its anarchic ignorance and inexperience. You remember that, do you?
Yes, I do.
Yes. The remark referred to one of the books which Miss Walden offered you and which you threw across the room.
Oh, you make the rejection sound much more violent than in fact
Oh, I'm
it was.
suggesting it was. Yes, I am. It was quite a violent rejection, Mr.
No.
McCaig. How would you define ignorance, Mr. McCaig?
I suppose I would define it as a condition of no knowledge.
Condition of no knowledge. Someone who studied theology and philosophy at the Gregorian University in Rome, who took a PhD at the University of Salzburg, who was vice-rector of the Catholic University of Puerto Rico for 4 years. Now, would you call him a man like that? Would you call him ignorant?
No.
No? Inexperienced, perhaps?
No.
No. You see, I've been describing Ivan Illich, the man whose book you threw across the room.
I did not throw. Very well, I concede that the writer you describe is neither ignorant nor inexperienced, but he might still be an anarchist.
But how can you possibly say that if you refuse to read what he writes? Oh, the truth is, Mr. McCaig, that you've closed your mind utterly to modern ideas in education, and possibly in every other field as well.
The truth is that I am a practical working headmaster.
You a bully, Mr. McCaig.
Really, my lord?
I am going to disallow that question as tending to treat the witness as hostile.
My lord. Now, Mr. McCaig, why did you suddenly step out of character and pay a personal visit to Miss Walden?
Because all other efforts at contacting her had failed.
Yes, well, that's what I mean. I mean, I'd have thought that your normal course would have been, would it not, to put the ordinary truancy procedure into motion?
Perhaps I suspected that it wasn't an ordinary truancy.
Oh, well, did you in actual fact suspect that?
No.
No? Oh, then why did you take this unusual course?
I was trying to... I was acting in the interests of the boy.
Yes, so you said, but doesn't your action rather smack of favouritism?
In my opinion, no.
No? In your 5 years as headmaster of Rushmore Comprehensive School, how many parents, Mr. McCaig, have you visited personally?
Only Miss Walden.
Oh, only Miss... Then you were favouring Timothy,
I
were
was
you not?
trying to save the boy.
Save him from what, Mr. McCaig?
From whatever was happening to him.
And what, in your opinion, was happening to him?
Well, he'd become withdrawn, aloof, almost.
Mr. McCaig, perhaps, did you feel perhaps that what was happening to him might have been his mother?
I'd never met his mother.
No, but you knew quite a lot about her.
Oh, yes, she was always writing to the local papers.
Yes, Mr. McCaig, would it be correct to say that long before you'd actually met Miss Walden, you'd built up a very prejudiced picture of her in your own mind?
I would only dispute the word prejudice.
Yes, but you did have a mental picture of her, did you not?
Yes?
Yes? Well, could you sum up that mental picture in a few words, please?
Yes, in two. Impractical idealism.
Yet you've already described her in your examination in chief as a bright, intelligent woman.
I recognize no contradiction there. Intelligence can often be shockingly misused.
How right you are, Mr. McCaig. I suggest that your intelligence led you to visit with Miss Walden with the intention of putting pressure on her.
Not...
Yes, and perhaps taking advantage of the fact that she's a woman and a single parent.
I deny that utterly.
You know, Mr. McCaig, I find everything you said, everything about Miss Walden here, today, a fascinating exercise in total prejudice. Yes, nothing's too small to be exploited. The room that you talked in together, you described it, yes, squalor, you said.
Yes.
Hmm? A heap of soiled clothing lying in a corner.
Yes, there was.
Yes, now could that not have been regarded as ordinary feminine untidiness, Mr. McCaig?
Possibly.
Possibly. 3 or 4 empty... Yes, you meant 3 or 4 empty wine bottles. Does that make her an alcoholic?
Of course not.
She seemed to be wearing only a dressing gown. Does that make her a whore, Mr. McCaig?
I was merely describing what I saw.
Yes? Well, why not simply say she was wearing a dressing gown?
Yes, I hesitate to be pedantic, especially in the presence of a headmaster. But I'm sure you will agree that there is a world of difference between she was wearing a dressing gown and she seemed to be wearing only a dressing gown.
The phrase was unfortunate, my lord.
Oh, I'm suggesting, Mr. McCaig, your interview with Miss Walden was quite otherwise than how you've described it.
No.
Yes. I suggest that you burst into her house, you turned the record player off, you threw the books about, you bullied her and hectored her until Wilfred Bell, who was in another room, was forced to intervene.
Nothing could be further from the truth.
Now, when Bell came into the room, he was naked. You said that, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
Yes. Now, what did you infer from that, Mr. McCaig?
Well, I naturally assumed that he was living with her.
Oh, and has that assumption ever been confirmed from any other source?
No, it has not. But...
Did you use unnecessary force on Wilfred Bell?
No, I did not.
Mr. McCaig, you decided to go to the police. Can you explain to the court why you did that?
Well, Bell had blown himself up. He'd threatened me. Then he'd blown himself up. And finally, I got the information from Mrs. Murray.
So you decided that Miss Walden was equally culpable.
Well, it seemed to me that if they were living together, she could not know about what was going on.
Yes, and of course, if she were out of the way, the problem of Timothy would be less intractable.
Well, that is tantamount to accusing me of conspiracy.
No, Mr. McCaig. Merely of unbridled fantasy.
Mr. McCaig, what kind of relationship do you have with your local education authority?
A very harmonious one.
Have you ever been reprimanded or taken to task in any way?
Never.
Your school is subject to periodic visitations from Her Majesty's inspectors, though,
Yes,
is it not?
it is.
Now, have they ever reported unfavourably on your running of the school?
I have not had one adverse report since I took over.
Thank you, Mr. McCaig. Now then, you have been accused of using unnecessary force against Wilfred Bell. What do you have to say to that?
What I said before. I did not use unnecessary force. I am an expert, and I was trained by experts. I know exactly how far to go.
Thank you, Mr. McCaig. That'll be all.
The cases in Fulchester Crown Court are fictitious, but the jury is composed of members of the general public. The Queen against Walden and Bush will be resumed tomorrow in the Crown Court. Jane Walden and Sarah Bush are charged, together with Wilfred Bell, deceased, of conspiracy to cause an explosion. Peter McCaig, a headmaster, had instigated police action against the women in the dock, convinced that the conspiracy had been to blow up his school.
Your full name is Janet Murray.
Yes, that's right.
And you're married? And you live at number 20, Walkenden Grove, Disforth.
Yes.
What is your profession, Mrs.
I'm a
Murray?
school attendance officer.
In that capacity, did you ever meet Miss Jane Walden?
Yes, actually, I went there quite often. She was trying to run a kind of do-it-yourself community centre. There's a lot of truancy in the district, so I was there quite often. I used to drop in for a cup of coffee and a chat.
Mrs. Murray, can you remember visiting Miss Walden in her home on the 4th of February?
Yes, I can.
Can you tell us the reason for that visit?
Her son Timothy hadn't been attending school.
Can you tell us more about that visit, Mrs. Murray?
She said he was finished with school, with all schools.
Did you ask her whether that meant that Timothy's education had suddenly come to a full stop?
Yes, as a matter of fact, I asked her that very question.
And can you remember her reply?
She said she intended to open a free school, that the district was crying out for one, and that she knew lots of qualified people who were dying to put new ideas into practice.
Now, was anyone else present in the house during your visit?
Yes, Sarah Bush was there and Wilfrid Bell.
And can you remember what Wilfrid Bell was doing?
He was sitting at the window, and he had a whole lot of old watches on a table and wee bits in front of him.
Did you ask him what he was doing, Mrs. Murray?
Yes, I did. He said he was making a bomb. And I said, I wished I could do the same.
What happened after he said that?
Well, everybody fell about laughing. I mean, everybody always laughed at Wilfrid. Poor soul, he was only about ninepence in the shilling.
Yes, I would like you to be a little more explicit, Mrs. Murray.
Well, my lord, what I mean to say is he wasn't exactly feeble-minded, but, well, he was a bit soft.
Thank you.
Mrs. Murray, did you report the incident of the watches to Mr. McCaig?
No, I didn't. I just sent in the usual standard truancy report. Well, then Mr. McCaig sent for me, and he started asking me about Jane Walden and Wilfrid Bell. That was when I mentioned the watches. And Mr. McCaig, he got very excited, and he asked me if I was sure that that was what Bell was doing.
Yes, and did you hear from Mr. McCaig again?
Yes, he phoned me about 2 or 3 days later, and he asked if I'd read the newspapers. Then he told me that Bell had blown himself up in a stolen car about 2 or 3 streets away from the school.
Thank you, Mrs. Murray.
Mrs. Murray, when Wilfrid Bell said that he was making a bomb, what did you understand him to mean by that?
Well, I took it that he was buying old watches, tarting them up and flogging them as new.
That would have been in character, would it?
Oh, definitely, yes.
Yes. How long did you know Wilfrid Bell?
Oh, about 10 years.
And would it be true to say, Mrs. Murray, that during all that time, he was always going to make a bomb, in the slang sense of earning a lot of money?
Oh, that was Wilfrid, full of balloon juice and full of wee secrets.
Oh, he was secretive.
Oh, there's always a wee bit of Wilfrid that nobody knew anything about.
Could he, in your opinion, possibly have conceived and carried out a bombing without anyone else being any the wiser?
Yes, I think he could have.
Was he a violent person, Wilfrid Bell?
Well, I think he liked to think of himself as a hard man, but he always ended up with a room full of second prizes.
Yes. Was Sir Bell's relationship with Miss Walden here, was it of a sexual nature?
You have to be joking. Jane Walden is gay.
You mean she's lesbian?
Yes, that's right.
Yes. Well, what was his relationship to her, then?
Oh, well, he was just another of our lame dogs. I mean, she had more lame dogs than Crufts on a bad day.
Could he possibly have influenced her to do something that she didn't agree with, she didn't want to do?
No one influences Jane Walden. She is one of the most strongest and determined characters that I have ever met.
Thank you, Mrs. Murray. Now, let me ask you about Sarah Bush.
What, the wee monk?
Oh, is that what you call her?
Well, that's what she is. She's a Buddhist monk.
Yes, I'd have thought she'd be a Buddhist nun.
Well, she calls herself a monk. I mean, ask her yourself.
Yes, I shall in due course. In the meantime, I'd like to ask you about how Wilfrid Bell regarded Miss Bush.
Well, I think he regarded her with a kind of awe.
Awe?
You know, the religious bit in that.
Yes. And how about Miss Walden? How did he regard her?
Well, in very much the same way. You see, there they were, these two women, dropouts in a way. And there was Wilfrid starving for what they had rejected.
Could you perhaps amplify that statement, Mrs. Murray?
Well, my lord, I remember going there one day when Jane Walden was trying to run her community centre. And Sarah and Jane were in the middle of a conversation. Well, I listened for a wee bit, but it was well above my head. And then I caught sight of Wilfrid, and you could almost hear his mind saying out loud, magic.
Thank you, my lord. Now, one last question, Mrs. Murray. If Wilfrid Bell had felt that either Miss Walden or Miss Bush were being threatened or harassed in any way, was Wilfrid Bell capable of going off quietly and doing something about it?
If there was one thing you could say about Wilfrid, he was loyal.
Thank you, Mrs. Murray.
Mrs. Murray, you say that Miss Walden is one of the strongest and most determined characters you've ever met.
Yes.
And that Wilfrid Bell held Miss Bush in something like awe.
Yes.
Bell himself, on the other hand, would seem to emerge from your analysis as a basically weak character. Would you agree?
I would.
Now, Mrs. Murray, if Jane Walden and Sarah Bush had combined to persuade Wilfrid Bell to do something, would he, in your opinion, have done it?
I think they could have made him jump through a hoop.
Or make and plant a bomb?
Yes.
Thank you. No more questions, Mrs. Murray. Call Martin Pettigrew.
Martin Pettigrew.
What is your religion, C.V.? You take the book in your right hand and read what is on the card.
I swear by Almighty God that the evidence I shall give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Your full name is Martin John Pettigrew, and do you live at Flat 3, Cressy Court, Barnton, Fulchester?
Yes.
And what is your occupation, Mr. Pettigrew?
I'm a freelance journalist and television commentator.
Do you know the accused, Jane Walden and Sarah Bush?
Yes, I know them both.
Does the acquaintanceship go back some years?
Yes, about 11 years. We were all at Fulchester University together.
Did you all three graduate?
No, Sarah Bush and I did, but Jane dropped out when she became pregnant.
Are you the putative father of her child, Mr. Pettigrew?
Yes.
Do you pay maintenance for your child, Mr. Pettigrew?
No, Jane refused to accept maintenance from me.
Isn't that rather an unusual attitude?
It's practically unique, I should think.
Did Miss Walden give any reasons for her attitude?
Well, she once said that accepting money from me would be a constant reminder to her that I was Timothy's father, and that was something she was trying desperately hard to forget.
Mr. Pettigrew, were the three of you, Miss Walden, Miss Bush and yourself, politically active at the university?
Well, I should say we were probably more active than political.
Do you remember a university society called the Friends of Nechayev?
Yes, I do. Yeah.
Would you be kind enough to tell the court who this Nechayev was, whose friends you all were?
Certainly, yes. Nechayev was a 19th century anarchist whose political solution to every problem was a bomb.
Now, on one of the occasions of the meeting of your society, did someone, on one occasion, demonstrate to you how to make a bomb?
Yes, a red-haired fellow from the science faculty. Fallon, I think his name was. He told us what the ingredients were. One of them was weed killer, and that we could buy them in any supermarket, and that anyone not totally ham-handed could make the timing device from a cheap watch.
And were Miss Bush and Miss Walden present on this educational occasion?
Yes, they were.
Now, Mr. Pettigrew, why did your relationship with Miss Walden break up?
Well, there are two main reasons. Firstly, she became increasingly extreme in her political views, and when I refused to go along with her, she accused me of selling out. She still does.
And what was the second reason?
That she decided that in every way, including sexually, she preferred women to men.
Can you tell us what happened after the birth of Miss Walden's child?
Well, she just disappeared. It was about 3 years before I could trace her.
You wanted to trace her because of the child, is that so?
There was no other reason left.
Yes. And when you finally did manage to track her down, where was she?
She was living in a commune in North London.
Was Miss Bush also in that commune?
Yes, she was. She was doing some social work in Notting Hill Gate at the time.
And at that time, Mr. Pettigrew, did you take any action in respect of your son, Timothy?
Yes, I applied for and got an order allowing me reasonable access to the boy.
Now, Mr. Pettigrew, when did Miss Walden return to Fulchester?
About 7 years ago.
Was Miss Bush with her then, still?
No, she stayed in the south. That was her London period. You know, flower power and pot and dawning of the age of Aquarius, all that sort of thing.
But you still tried to keep in contact with Miss Walden, did you not?
Yes, both directly through the access order and indirectly through various contacts.
Was one of those contacts Wilfrid Bell?
Yes, it was.
What was your relationship with Wilfrid Bell?
Purely professional. He used to have some odd bits of information he would peddle to me now and again.
Now, Mr. Pettigrew, can you tell us when you last saw Wilfrid Bell?
Yes, it was on the night of January the 27th.
And where did this meeting take place?
In a pub called the Stag at Royley.
How did Bell appear that evening?
Well, he was in a distressed state. Someone had given him a very bad beating.
Did he tell you who had beaten him?
No, he mentioned no names. All he said was that he was going to sort this bloke out, and that this time he meant what he was doing because he was doing it for Sarah and Jane.
He was doing it for Sarah and Jane.
Accident or injury. Contact TV lawyers.
Free to air.
Mr. Pettigrew, on February the 2nd, you went to see Miss Walden, did you not?
Well, actually, I went to see Timothy.
Yes, what happened during that visit?
Well, I saw Timothy and I was worried by the change in him. He was becoming increasingly silent and withdrawn.
Did you try to discuss that with Miss Walden at all?
Oh, no, that would have been quite futile.
Did you have occasion during that visit to go into the kitchen?
Yes, I asked Jane if I might make myself a cup of coffee, and she gestured towards the kitchen.
And in the kitchen, did you find something?
Yes, I did.
Could you tell the court what it was that you found?
Yes, I was looking for the coffee when I noticed a plastic container.
And what was in that container, Mr. Pettigrew?
A chemical used by gardeners as a weed killer.
Now, Mr. Pettigrew, do you know of any other use to which that weed killer can be put?
Yes, it can be used for making bombs, as I've just said. Fallon, the red-haired scientist at university, he told us all that.
Mr. Pettigrew, did you look to see how much of the weed killer was in the container?
Yes, there was only about a quarter of the original contents remaining.
Thank you, Mr. Pettigrew.
Mr. Pettigrew, you gave us one of the reasons for your relationship with Miss Walden breaking up, the fact that she recognized and accepted her own homosexuality.
I did, yes.
Yes, how did you face up to it?
Well, obviously, my options were fairly limited.
Yes, limited, perhaps, but still available. I mean, you could have accepted the situation gracefully as an immutable fact, or you could have felt it a severe blow to your ego.
Well, I think I felt used.
Yes, well, yes, quite. And ridiculous, perhaps. A figure of fun whose girlfriend had left him for another girl, or even girls.
Well, the nudge brigade are always with us, you know.
Oh, quite, yes. Would it be true to say, Mr. Pettigrew, that you hate Miss Walden?
No.
Yes, and that Sarah Bush is comprehended in that hatred because she knows too much about you as a person?
No.
No? I'd like to hark back to your meeting in the public house with Wilfrid Bell. You were rather glibly dismissive of Bell, don't you think?
No, I don't think so. He was a very simple person to dismiss. He was a natural-born loser.
Wasn't a somewhat similar phrase once used to describe Lee Harvey Oswald, Mr. Pettigrew? Now, isn't it possible that for once he really meant to do what he'd threatened, to sort out the man who'd beaten him?
Well, I suppose it's possible.
Oh, yes, I suggest that it's a great deal more than possible. After all, he did blow himself up, did he not?
Yes.
Yes. Now, you've told the court that Bell stated that what he intended doing, he was doing for Sarah and Jane.
Those were his words, yes.
Yes. Now, in your opinion, Mr. Pettigrew, does that necessarily imply foreknowledge of Bell's intentions on the part of Miss Walden and Miss Bush?
Not necessarily, no.
No. Mr. Pettigrew, have you ever offered to take over custody of your son from Miss Walden?
Oh, yes, I have, yes, right over and over again from the day he was born.
Oh, I see. Am I to take it, then, that you've got certain reservations about her as a parent, have you?
Oh, I have no reservations at all. I thought and still think that she's a disaster for Timothy.
So are you suggesting she neglects the boy, Mr. Pettigrew?
Not at all. But there are worse things than physical neglect.
Oh, I find that something of a generalization, Mr. Pettigrew. Could you be more explicit, perhaps?
Well, some experts consider that all children are conformists. I happen to agree with that, so I would send my son to a first-class traditional school. That way, at least, I'd be giving him something to rebel against. His mother's way just produces aimless rebels, forever leaping on hobby horses and galloping off wildly in all directions.
Yes, I see. Mr. Pettigrew, do you love your son?
Naturally.
Good. You've got a good rapport with him, would you say?
Very good, I would say, yes.
Good. What football team does he support?
I don't know.
Oh. Well, what's his favourite television
I haven't the
programme?
slightest idea.
No? Does he like the Bay City Rollers, Mr. Pettigrew? Or is there some other pop group that he prefers? Now, would it be too much to say, Mr. Pettigrew, that you don't know anything about your son? Nothing at all. And you care even less, that you've never seen him. You've never seen Timothy as anything except as an instrument for harassing his mother.
I find that a preposterous suggestion.
But isn't it true that the boy loathed and feared you, that he dreaded your visits?
If it is true, it would merely reflect years of anti-man, anti-father propaganda.
Oh, really? Ah, yes. Mr. Pettigrew, your statement to the police about Miss Walden was rather comprehensive, don't you think?
No, I don't think so.
No? From an anarchist society at university 10 years ago to a meeting a couple of weeks ago. Well, had you been writing a study in depth of a conspiracy for a Sunday supplement or something, it was all right. But in a statement to the police, don't you think it's a trifle overblown?
No, I'm afraid I don't.
No? Well, would you care to explain why?
Well,
Mr.
I'll try.
Yes, well, go ahead.
Well, it seems to me that some people have a predisposition towards an act of terror that he or she might one day commit, rather like carrying a gene, or better still, the seeds of a disease.
Go on.
Yeah, well, I see conspiracy as something that provides the conditions for the disease to become energized and flourish. I'm having to work this out as I go along.
Yes, so please don't feel inhibited. Take your own time.
Thank you, my lord. Well, in a very profound sense, the people I'm talking about are secret people. You have to define them by implication. You have to assemble them like a jigsaw.
Excuse me, are you suggesting that your statement to the police about Miss Walden and Miss Bush would eventually reveal a jigsaw portrait of terrorism?
The interpretation placed on the final portrait will be no concern of mine.
A remark worthy of Pontius Pilate at his best. I've no more questions to this witness, my lord.
Mr. Pettigrew, I want you to think again about the remark made to you in the public house by Wilfrid Bell, when he said he was doing it for Jane and Sarah.
Yes.
Now, you've already agreed with my learned friend, Mr. Vernon, that the statement did not necessarily imply foreknowledge of Bell's intentions on the part of the two ladies, have you not?
Yes, I have, yes.
All the same, the remark was highly ambiguous, was it not?
Yes, it was.
Now, you, Mr. Pettigrew, speaking as someone who knew these three people concerned very well indeed, what interpretation did you place on that remark?
I immediately assumed that whatever it was Bell had in mind, that both Sarah and Jane would know about it.
Thank you, Mr. Pettigrew. I have no more questions. My lord, that is the case for the prosecution.
Call Sarah Bush. You are Sarah Bush, aged 27, residing at number 10A, St. Peter's Lane, Rossley.
Yes.
Yes. Do you have a more permanent address, Miss Bush?
Dorner's House, Pevens Bay, Sussex.
Now, will you tell the court, please, what that address is?
Certainly. It's a monastery. Yes. I'm one of the monks. I'm a Buddhist.
Miss Bush, you're also a qualified social worker, are you not?
I was.
Could you tell the court why you put that answer in the past tense, Miss Bush?
Because I've rejected that life. It was a false start, and now I've gone back to the beginning.
Now, by that, do you mean, Miss Bush, that you've embraced the Buddhist way of life?
Yes, I've started searching for the way.
And am I right in asserting that the Buddhist way of life completely rejects and condemns all forms of violence?
Well, I think that would be too simple a statement of the case.
Well, your Buddhism, it is of the Zen variety, is it not?
Yes, I seek enlightenment.
Yes, Miss Bush, in our own material and occidental way, that is what we too are seeking in this court.
Yes, my lord, but there are certain questions that can only be answered by a master. Well, a pupil in a Catholic seminary would not presume to speak on behalf of the Pope.
Miss Bush, a pupil in a Catholic seminary would presumably be aware of his church's basic attitudes.
Yes, my lord, but such a pupil would simply be collecting fossils and not seeking the way. Now, Zen students are with their masters for at least 10 years before they presume to instruct others.
I accept, Miss Bush, that your search for enlightenment entails the most conscientious and rigid discipline. But at the same time, I do not wish to be entered in the Guinness Book of Records as the judge who presided over the longest trial in the history of this country. So if there is any possible way of summing up what would otherwise take us all 10 years to reach, I suggest that you try to do so.
Yes, my lord. There was a Zen master called Gassan who may have summed it up for you.
The court is vastly obliged to him.
Well, he said to his pupils, "Those who oppose killing and seek to spare the life of all sentient beings are right. It is good to protect animals, even the insects that crawl on the ground and fly in the air."
An admirable sentiment and admirably brief.
Thank you, my lord. Would you agree, then, Miss Bush, that the way you follow is the way of peace and contemplation and love?
I would agree.
Yes. It would appear to follow, then, that you'd have nothing to do, would you, with any scheme or proposal or whatever that involved violence of any sort?
Not at all, no.
No. Thank you, Miss Bush. Now, you heard Miss Murray's evidence and her description of Wilfrid Bell. She used the rather picturesque phrase, "The poor soul was only ninepence in the shilling." Would you agree with that, Miss Bush?
Well, Mrs. Murray is, of course, entitled to her own opinion.
Well, does that mean that you disagree with her assessment of Wilfrid Bell, do you?
No.
Miss Bush, I only know about your religion what I have read, but I do hope that we're not going to have here something like a discussion on the sound of one hand clapping.
No, my lord, but oddly enough, I can quote a Zen master who may clarify my attitude to Wilfrid Bell.
Please do so.
It is a precept of a Zen master from the Tang dynasty. "A man may appear to be a fool, and yet may not be one. He may be guarding his wisdom carefully."
Well, so you think that this was the case with Wilfrid Bell?
Well, I think he should be given the benefit of the doubt.
Your Zen master's precept would seem to accord well with Mrs. Murray's evidence that he was secretive.
Yes, it would.
Yes, and that he was therefore capable of conceiving and carrying out a bombing completely on his own.
Yes.
Yes, in complete secrecy.
Oh, yes.
Yes, you've also heard Mrs. Murray state that Wilfrid Bell was seated at a table with a lot of cheap dismantled watches in front of him.
Yes, and he was.
Yes, and you've also heard Mrs. Murray's evidence that when she asked Bell what he was doing, he said, "I'm making a bomb." Would you agree with that?
Well, not quite.
No?
What he actually said was, "I'm going to make a bomb."
Yes, all right. And when he said, "I'm going to make a bomb," you took that as meaning, "I'm going to earn a fortune." Am I right?
Yes.
Yes, just as Mrs. Murray did.
Yes.
Yes. Did the possibility that he might have been talking about a real bomb, Miss Bush, ever occur to you?
No, not for a moment.
Thank you. Now, Miss Bush, about this carton of weed killer in the kitchen. What can you tell us about that?
I bought it.
The cases in Fulchester Crown Court are fictitious, but the jury is composed of members of the general public. The Queen against Walden and Bush will be concluded tomorrow in the Crown Court. It's now into the third day of the trial of Jane Walden and Sarah Bush. They're charged in conjunction with Wilfrid Bell, deceased, with conspiracy to cause an explosion. The defence is now presenting its case, and Sarah Bush has admitted buying the chemical which was probably used to make the bomb.
Miss Bush, you admit that you bought the weed killer.
I do.
Could you, what was your reason, firstly, for buying? What was your reason for buying the weed killer?
I bought it to take back to the monastery.
So, could you amplify that for the court a bit, please?
Certainly. It's really very simple. While we stay at the monastery, we pay a small weekly sum to cover the overheads. And when we run out of money, that is, we the monks,
yes,
we go back into the world to earn enough money to return.
Yes, I see. And you were about to return?
Yes, I've been working at various odd jobs for about 7 months now, and I've now earned enough to go back for another year.
I see. Why were you taking back a carton of weed killer?
Well, we try to be completely self-supporting at the monastery. We grow all our own food.
Yes.
I thought it might be useful in the garden.
In other words, it was a sort of a present.
If you like, yes.
Miss Bush, had you noticed that a considerable quantity of the weed killer was in fact missing?
No, I hadn't.
No? Have you any idea who might have taken it?
Well, anyone might have taken it, but the logic of events would seem to point to the fact that it was Wilfrid who did take it.
Yes. Did you at any time, Miss Bush, think that Wilfrid Bell was up to something?
No, never.
No. Thank you, Miss Bush.
Miss Bush, you said that Buddhism was a religion of peace, contemplation, and love, did you not?
I did, and it is.
Yes, but surely some of the Zen masters appear to have been rather violent men, wouldn't you agree?
I would.
Wasn't the one who burned the face of a female disciple with a red-hot iron?
There may have been.
And coming down to more modern times, surely the Buddhist priests in Vietnam were involved in violent, even revolutionary protest.
Yes. Yes, they were.
So you would agree, though, that while Buddhism as a religion is totally against violence, Buddhists as people are no less capable of violence than are Christians or Muslims.
I would agree with that.
Thank you, Miss Bush. Now then, Miss Bush, you have known Miss Walden for a good many years now, have you not?
She's perhaps my closest friend.
And she's a woman of very decided views, is she not?
Oh, yes. Yes, she's thought things out.
Do you share many of those views?
A great many of them.
Did you agree with her taking Timothy away from school?
Wholeheartedly. Well, I endorsed all of her reasons, and I added one of my own.
Yes, well, no doubt we shall be hearing Miss Walden's reasons in due course. Would you be kind enough now to voice your added reason?
The boy was being poisoned at school.
Poisoned?
With all that foul, unnatural food that they serve children at school meals.
Ah, I begin to understand. You are a health food addict, are you?
Yes.
Yes, I'd like to go back to Wilfrid Bell for a moment. You suggested, through a quotation from your Zen master, that there may have been hidden depths to Wilfrid Bell.
It was a suggestion only.
A rather clever suggestion, wouldn't you agree?
Well, if you tell me what was clever about it, I'll answer that.
Well, my suggestion is that Wilfrid Bell, in his role as a secret plotter, is a very convenient fiction.
I think you're getting a lot of mileage out of what was simply a charitable thought.
Isn't your saying that charity begins at home, Miss Bush? Now, Miss Bush, do you agree with Mrs. Murray's statement about Miss Walden always picking up lame dogs?
Absolutely. The house was always full of them.
Oh, it was it?
Yes.
Hardly the best environment for secrecy to flourish in, wouldn't you say?
Well, if I may answer in the terms of an old cliché, one can be very alone in a crowd.
And the day of Mr. McCaig's visit, Wilfrid Bell was naked, was he not?
Yes.
Does it seem very likely that someone of an allegedly secretive nature would walk about naked in front of other people?
Yes.
Really? Miss Bush, you were formerly a qualified social worker, were you not?
Yes, I was.
And in these, your unenlightened days, you probably came across 100 Wilfrid Bells, did you not?
Yes, that's unfortunately true.
The weak, the shiftless, the inadequate, the resentful.
Yes, but they're still people.
The pliable, the easily led. Wilfrid Bell was perfect scapegoat material, was he not?
I resent that implication.
A scapegoat to be used both dead and alive.
I deny that. And I shall continue to deny that.
Infinite repetition does not turn a lie into a truth, Miss Bush.
Well, no more than it turns truth into a lie.
Now, you said that you are a health food addict.
Well, I don't like that term, but I will accept it.
Yes, that usually goes with fairly strong views on ecology, does it not?
Yes, and it does in my case, too.
You disapprove of battery methods of producing chickens?
Very much.
Food additives in the milling of flour?
Yes, I disapprove of both.
Air and river pollution?
Yes.
The use of artificial weed killer and fertilizer?
Yes, I disapprove of them, too.
That's all, Miss Bush.
Now, about these views on food and ecology, Miss Bush, would I be right in saying that you're quite a recent convert, are you not?
Yes, very recent.
Yes, and like all recent converts, you're prone to lapses.
Regrettably, yes.
Yes. Now, regarding these lame dogs that Miss Walden collected around her, would I be right in saying, Miss Bush, that she practically kept open house, didn't she?
Yes, you would.
At all hours of day and night.
People came and went. There was one bloke who
Yes?
stayed for 2 days. None of us knew he'd been there until he sent us a postcard thanking us for putting him up.
Now, if these conditions were hardly conducive to secrecy, they'd appear even less so for conspiracy. Wouldn't you say?
Yes.
Yes. Thank you, Miss Bush. That will be all. Call Jane Walden.
Jane Walden.
I do solemnly, sincerely and truly declare and affirm that the evidence I shall give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Now, you're Jane Walden. You're 28, and you live at 10A St. Peter's Lane, Ruskin.
Yes.
Yes. What's your occupation, Miss Walden?
Surviving.
I shall say housewife.
Why not? It's the same thing, really.
Now, Miss Walden, when your son's headmaster came to see you, what was his attitude to you?
He was boorish, rude, overbearing, pompous and patronising.
I see. Now, you've heard his description of your house and what he called it squalor. What did you say to that, Miss...
Simply that what he calls squalor, I call my day to go to the laundrette.
I see. Now, Mr. McCaig, the headmaster, testified that Wilfred Bell came into the room stark naked. Is that true?
Yes. I mean, you have to take your clothes off to have a bath.
Oh, well, Wilfred Bell was having a bath?
Yes, I have one of the few baths in my neighbourhood. It's in constant use. So the sight of naked men is, for me, neither novel nor disturbing in either sense.
No, quite. In the fracas that followed, how badly was Bell beaten up?
He was in a terrible state.
Did he say the words attributed him by
Yes,
by
he
Mr.
did.
McCaig? Did you take his threat seriously, Miss Walden?
No. It was a piece of bravado. He'd been humbled in front of two women, as he saw it. He had to save face somehow.
You were pretty angry too, weren't you?
You can't live where I live and not be angry.
Now, Miss Walden, when you saw those watches dismantled on the table, they meant nothing at all to you?
Nothing at all.
Accident or injury. Contact TV lawyers.
The property ladder's all very well when you're on the way up, but many British homeowners have had a nasty surprise. They're the unlucky people who bought an endowment mortgage.
Miss Walden, how did you first come to meet Wilfred Bell?
I met him when I was trying to set up a self-help centre in my neighbourhood. He just drifted in one day and more or less stayed.
Yes, what happened to your self-help centre?
It was sabotaged.
Indeed. Who were the saboteurs?
The corporation bureaucracy. Initially, the first year, they made us a small grant. When we applied to have it renewed, suddenly there were conditions, like having a more or less resident social worker.
Don't you approve of social workers, Miss Walden?
I see them as an extension of the police force.
Are you an anarchist, Miss Walden?
Insofar as I am anything, yes.
So you reject all authority, do you?
No. I reject the necessity for authority and the rights that authority assumes.
You didn't appear to reject the authority you had over Wilfred Bell, though, did you?
Frankly, I was not aware of having any.
Well, you heard Mrs. Murray's remark about Wilfred hanging on every word you said.
Yes, and very touching and beautiful it was. It made me feel thoroughly ashamed.
Why did it make you feel ashamed?
Because Mrs. Murray was right. Wilfred was hungry for the things that Sarah and I had thrown away.
Was Mrs. Murray also right when she said that you and Sarah Bush could make Wilfred jump through hoops?
No, she most definitely was not.
Reverting to those conversations at which Wilfred Bell was a worshipful eavesdropper, did you discuss politics, violence, revolution?
The ordinary day-to-day 20th century things, yes.
Well, would you deny that you, and indeed Sarah Bush, encouraged Wilfred Bell to hang around you?
Yes, he could be a nuisance. On one occasion, he was the cause of my SS money being stopped under the cohabitation rule.
Social security, my lord. Could you go into a little more detail, please?
Yes. Wilfred came to my flat one night and stayed for 3 months. During that time, the SS snoopers were ferreting about the way they do. Well, they decided Wilfred and I were cohabiting and stopped my money.
And what did you do?
I went to see them and told them the thing was nonsense, that I'm a lesbian. They gave me 10 out of 10 for a new excuse, but no money. It was weeks before I got it sorted out.
And that would, of course, tend to confirm your hatred of the system, would it not?
Contempt is probably a better word.
Did you talk to Wilfred Bell about the iniquities of the system, Miss Walden?
Jesus Christ, who the hell are you? I I didn't have to tell Wilfrid about the iniquities of the system. That was where he was at.
And then perhaps you confirmed and crystallized ideas that were already in his head.
Or vice versa.
Yes. Did you discuss withdrawing Timothy from school with Wilfrid Bell?
Yes, I did, just as I discussed it with Sarah and other people.
Yes, but between you and Sarah Bush and Wilfrid Bell, there was agreement, was there not?
Yes, there was.
And as a result, Timothy was withdrawn from school.
Yes.
And then Mr. McKay came to interview you and seemed to confirm all those things you had discussed about schools.
He was everything we had discussed in person.
Miss Walden, why did you take your son away from school?
Because he was unhappy.
Was he unhappy with his particular school, or were you unhappy with the whole concept of school?
Both.
But according to his headmaster, Mr. McCaig, Timothy was, let me see, very bright, adjusted, well-behaved.
All you have to add to that is one owner, only 35,000 miles, and you're describing a second-hand car.
Was the boy consulted about your decision?
The boy is consulted about every decision that concerns him.
Was he consulted about the decision you took not to hand him over to the custody of his father?
Yes, he was. As soon as he was capable of understanding the situation, he was told he could go to his father if he preferred to.
And he always preferred not to. Is that the case?
That is the case.
And as his father had money and worked in the media, that was a victory over the system.
I'm afraid I don't think that way.
And then, of course, Timothy goes to school and does well and appears to be happy and adjusted until one day you happen to read in a book that schools are really repressive institutions that turn out manufactured robots. Am I correct so far, Miss Walden?
No.
Are you one of those people who cannot possibly believe something unless they see it written in a book?
The books I offered McCaig simply confirmed and crystallised ideas that were already in my mind.
And from there on, it was an easy step to take Timothy away from school, was it not?
Yes.
And that was another victory over the system.
One moment, Mr. Maitland-Wilson. Now, Miss Walden, what exactly are your views on the school system?
To begin with, I believe the system has become institutionalised, and like all other institutions, it tends to be run for the benefit of the staff rather than the patients, if I may call them that. Secondly, the system is class-structured and blatantly elitist. Those with the right parents and from the right background, the chosen few, are set apart, drilled through their A-levels, and then, of course, they go on to the university where the manufacturing process is completed and people are brainwashed into their role in society. So, if you're a Wilfrid Bell, you stand no chance. For you, school is like prison. You simply serve your sentence until the leaving age and then you're flung on the street and left to fend for yourself. I am convinced that every child, no matter how deprived or intellectually inadequate he may be, has a potential that can be channeled and fulfilled in some way, however insignificant that may be. But these allegedly not very bright kids, those like Wilfrid who need care and encouragement and attention, these are the ones who are neglected. And because of this, I believe that schools are wasteful of talent, and worst of all, they destroy the child's innate spontaneity and creativity.
So you, Miss Walden, would like to see all schools destroyed?
Yes.
You know, the weakness of anarchism, Miss Walden, has always been their inability to suggest alternatives.
With all due respect, that is not the case. There have been very successful free schools that ran on anarchist principles.
Would you have sent the boy to one of these?
My lord, it was my intention to set up one in my own neighbourhood.
It's an admirable intention. But I wonder if it really has anything to do with the heart of the matter.
I don't understand.
You did say, did you not, Miss Walden, that the boy was unhappy?
Yes.
Well, there is a principle of logic, if not of law, called William of Occam's razor, and that states that ideas should not be multiplied beyond the necessity for them.
Yes.
Well, I was wondering if the boy's unhappiness had anything to do with educational theories, politics, or such abstractions. I think possibly he is a good boy fallen among adults.
Miss Walden, you heard Mr. Pettigrew testify that some years ago you lived in a commune in North London.
Yes.
How long did you remain there?
About 18 months.
Now, am I right in saying that during those 18 months, 4 members of that commune were arrested and charged with bombing offences.
Yes.
Is it true that those 4 people were subsequently found guilty and sent to prison?
Yes.
And was one of them a girl called Helen Tourneur?
Yes, Helen was one of them.
Now, she was a very good friend of yours, was she not?
A very good friend.
I'm going to suggest, Miss Walden, that she was something even closer than that.
Yes, we were lovers.
I'm going to suggest, Miss Walden, that during the 18 months that you lived with Helen Tourneur in that commune, you learnt everything there is to be known about making bombs.
What you suggest is simply not true.
It is true, however, that she was picked up by the special branch, was she not?
The special branch were picking up everybody that year. You just weren't anybody if you hadn't been picked up by the special branch. They even picked me up.
Frankly, you know, I found your statement quite incredible. You lived for 18 months on terms of the closest possible intimacy with someone who is actively engaged in bombing attacks. Surely in that time you couldn't help picking up the rudimentary details.
The men made the bombs.
Well, even so, you couldn't have helped seeing them assemble the
I
devices.
never did.
Oh, really, Miss Walden?
There was a strict rule. During the time the men were assembling the bombs, the women would take the children out walking in the park nearby.
How very chivalrous!
And it happens to be true.
Was the gentle art of bomb-making one of those subjects you discussed with Miss Sarah Bush? One of those curtain lectures to which Wilfrid Bell listened so devoutly?
I have never made a bomb in my life. I wouldn't know how to.
Yes, but isn't it possible that Wilfrid Bell made it under your supervision?
No.
But he did make a bomb, did he not?
Obviously he did.
Well, the question is, why?
Why don't you reassemble Wilfrid and ask him?
Miss Walden, that is a most outrageous observation.
What is happening here to me is, if anything, even more outrageous.
Miss Walden, you will not help your case by overstepping the bounds of propriety.
Miss Walden, you do seem to have had a long association with violent organizations and violent people, do you not?
I don't agree.
The Friends of Nichaya at university?
That was a joke. They were all louts with too much money, a kind of 20th century hellfire club. All their violence took place on the rugby field. Christ, they even had a special tie with a cartoon bomb on it.
And I suppose that the bomb that the Faculty of Science student demonstrated was also only a cartoon bomb.
To the extent that it never got off the paper it was sketched on, yes.
Well, let's move on to the next phase, the North London Commune. Were the people there only louts with too much money?
No.
Nor was their violence confined to the rugby fields, was it?
No.
Now, you have heard Mr. Pettigrew testify that your increasing extremism was one of the reasons for the breakup of your relationship with him.
Yes, I did, and I think it was made manifestly clear in this court why he said that.
But you yourself have amply demonstrated in this court your extremism also, have you not?
I have only told the truth.
Well, you've told us about your trouble with your self-help centre.
In other words, resistance to bureaucracy is a crime.
Then there was your conflict with the Social Security.
The violence there was done to me. And I use the word violence advisedly. Every day the same violence is meted out to thousands of helpless people by the SS.
And finally, of course, there was the business of your taking your son away from school.
Which involved, as the merest byproduct, Wilfrid Bell being beaten up by a headmaster.
Ah, yes, Miss Walden. Now, I would like to ask you about those injuries allegedly inflicted on Wilfrid Bell by Mr. McCaig. Could you describe the injuries, please?
His nose was badly damaged, probably broken. Bad bruises across the throat. His ribs hurt when he breathed, which suggests damage there. And his testicles were severely swollen.
Why didn't he see a doctor or go to the casualty ward of a hospital?
Wilfrid was poor and semi-illiterate.
Am I supposed to accept that as an answer?
It is an answer. People like Wilfrid don't go near doctors or lawyers or policemen or any other authority of their own free will. They've learnt that it's better to suffer and be safe.
Then you possibly could have reported the matter to the police yourself, could you not?
The police would just have laughed.
Well, was there anything to prevent you writing a letter of complaint to Mr. McCaig's superiors?
Only the knowledge that it will all end up in a great big whitewash.
I see. Now, Miss Walden, is it not the case that on or after the 27th of January last, you entered into an agreement with Wilfrid Bell and Sarah Bush? And is it not the case also that as a result of that agreement, Sarah Bush purchased a certain weed killer, which is the required ingredient in the making of bombs? Is it not the case also that as a result of that agreement, Wilfrid Bell obtained from an unspecified source an unspecified number of cheap timepieces, the mechanism of which was to be used to make the triggering device for a bomb? And finally, is it not the case that Wilfrid Bell did actually construct a bomb with the full connivance of yourself and Sarah Bush, and that the intent was to plant the bomb to cause an explosion at Rushmore Comprehensive School?
None of that is remotely true.
I have no more questions for this witness, my lord.
Miss Walden, you were interrogated by the special branch, were you not?
It was not an interrogation.
Well, could you tell the court what it was then, please?
They wanted me to become an informer.
And did you refuse?
Yes, of course I did.
Thank you, Miss Walden.
You may return to the dock, Miss Walden.
There is something I would like to say.
Miss Walden, I would question the wisdom of that.
My lord, the wisdom in question is your own.
Oh, well, in that case, I can hardly refuse to listen.
My lord, earlier on you said you thought Timothy was a good boy fallen among adults.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to read something to the court, my lord.
May I see it, please?
It's a poem which I found lying about in the house a short while ago. It was written by Timothy.
I see. Mr. Maitland-Wilson, Mr. Vernon, have you any objection to Miss Walden reading this poem?
No, madam.
No, madam.
Very well, then, Miss Walden, you may read the poem to the court if you so wish.
Thank you. Hands reaching towards the unripe fruit. Why do they suddenly become claws? So many saints crowd forward to kiss the leper that he suffocates. No one listens to the bone the dogs are squabbling over. Sometimes I would like to return to the dark cloud I was born under.
Thank you, Miss Walden.
Members of the jury, will your foreman please rise? Now just answer this question, yes or no. Have you reached a verdict upon which you are all agreed?
Yes.
And do you find the accused Jane Walden guilty or not guilty on the charge of conspiring to cause an explosion?
Guilty.
Is that the verdict of you all?
It is.
And do you find the accused Sarah Bush guilty or not guilty on the charge of conspiring to cause an explosion?
Not guilty.
But if I'm innocent, my lord, how can she possibly be called guilty? What is she accused of conspiring of?
Due to the age and circumstances surrounding Jane Walden's son, Mr. Justice Campbell called for social inquiry and medical reports before passing sentence. Meanwhile, Jane Walden is held in custody. The cases in Fulchester Crown Court are fictitious, but the jury is composed of members of the general public.